I'm very much like Catherine as well. This isn't normal for me, so I apologise if the voice is wavery. I'd left school, same as Catherine, passed exams, and that was it. Went as a YTS as travel, which is quite bizarre, we're both done the same. Loved it, did that for 10 years, but I moved more into the admin side of the role, which I enjoyed. Circumstances changed, and I left that job and then went back to college to do an MVQ, just to have that piece of paper that says I can do these business administration. Went on to work at various jobs, various administration jobs, but landed at AandC MFT in 2009 following a redundancy from Stockport PCT, which again is devastating because you don't know what's going to happen. I landed in the radiology team as an appointments booking clerk, which I loved. Great team to work for. After about 18 months, I wanted more of a secretarial role. I wanted my own desk, missed having my own desk. So I applied for a few Band 4 roles, unsuccessful. No reason why. I think it was the step up from a Band 3 to Band 4. There was more Band 4s taking that sideways move. I don't know. Maybe because I wasn't actually in a secretarial role at the time. So took stock, looked and thought, well, I'll apply for some Band 3 secretarial jobs and move that way. So I got one in the research office. It was a sideways move, but I felt it was worth doing it because it would open up more opportunities, which it did. 3 months later, there was a secondment that came up for a Band 4 research support officer, which I applied for and got. It was temporary secondment, but I felt it's worth the risk of going for a secondment because you've always got your job to fall back on, or even if it's not that role, they've got something that you can fall back on. So it's a great move to do because you're learning new skills, but you've still got that security. So I did that. Again, loved the role, loved learning about research, never really looked into research at all. Seeing all the research studies that CMFT do, or reading about them, wanted to take part in them. And also as a patient, I'm diabetic, so I took part in a few research studies and found that I liked that. I like the nosiness of it, you know, finding out about things. So I started looking around and asking colleagues, senior managements, about the roles that were there, whether, you know, I was capable of doing it. Because again, sort of a bit like Catherine, you don't think that you're capable of doing anything until you put your mind to it. So spoke to my manager as well, my line manager, who was really supportive. They knew that the role that I was in wasn't enough for me. I'd sort of grown, and there was nowhere further to go within the research office other than Band 7, and jumping from a 4 to a 7 isn't realistic. So we spoke about it and we worked out that if I could go shadowing, speak with colleagues, see if it was something that I really wanted, maybe looking at doing college courses or a degree. That isn't for me. I don't say don't, should never say don't, but I wouldn't want to do a degree. So I went shadowing with a few colleagues, so I looked at the admin systems that they use, which not a problem, all my skills are transferable, I can easily do that. But more that I was worried about was the patient side of it. I'd never really dealt with patients other than from a desk and, you know, checking them in, booking them in for a scan. And probably the most defining moment is when I shadowed a colleague in the eye hospital, and he said, well, come and watch, we're doing some operations on the eyes. And I was like, oh, can't do, squeamish, totally squeamish. And I thought, well, if I go, it'll test me whether I can deal with patients and everything that they bring, you know, it's not all nicey-nicey. So I went and I was absolutely fascinated and enthralled. Couldn't take my eyes off the screen with it. Didn't even see him injecting eyes or anything, even just talk about it now makes me go. But at the time, I was just totally enthralled by it. And especially 2 weeks later when we met them same patients and they were saying, oh, we can see better, we can, you know, and it changed their lives. And I thought, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. But how do I go about it? Again, hadn't got the degree, which a lot of research jobs want the degree. So taking stock again, how do I get, you know, how do I change this? There's this barrier there of degree. Spoke to a few people and they'd all said, well, no, you do need a degree and stuff. But I just worked, I carried on shadowing, carried on talking to other, you know, staff members, and built up a reputation, built up network of speaking to people, going out, going to meetings, taking on extra roles. So, you know, it wasn't in my role, but initially it helped me, but it also helped the team that I was working for as well. And again, you gain that reputation, and that's what it's about building. You are selling yourself. You know, you are all fantastic at the roles that you do, whether you want to move up, stay sideways, go to another role, but you can all do the job, and you do need to sell yourself. You are selling yourself. So I had to do that, and that's not in me. I say I don't normally do things like this at all. But it was sort of building up the network and speaking to people. And I managed to apply for a Band 5 research practitioner role, which I'm in now. My manager knew of me and knew my work, and I think that helped gain my job, gain my role, because she was aware of me, and she knew, not boasted, but I was good at my job. I'm very consistent and will deliver what I say I'm going to deliver. That's personal pride for me. So I got the job as a Band 5, and then it was like, oh, right, what do I do now? So I had to learn to be a phlebotomist. Again, which I love. I love taking blood. I know it's strange, but spinning blood's never done that before. So it's all new skills, collecting data and making sure the data is consistent and what the outside companies want. Because all the time you're speaking to patients, but you're also promoting CMFT to outside companies and research studies. But the one thing that I did love, say all the admin skills I could bring over, built those up for years, was just the skill of the patient. Just chatting to a patient. My job's great because I just sit there, they have the cup of coffee, I'm asking them questions and they're telling me the life story. So it's like having a coffee with friends all the time, and that's what the patients are. Not friends, but patients are people. It's something you do every day in your job. You chat to your colleague, you chat to your manager, you chat to the outside companies. So again, everybody can do it. So if you are thinking of going over to more clinical side, and despite the uniform, I don't know anything about nursing, no medical questions. It's transferable. Your skills that you've built up within an office environment, you can take wherever you want to go. You know, the world is your oyster as such. And I find as long as you've got a smile and listen to the patients, then they're fine. And it is the best of both worlds, which is why I love the job that I'm doing. I get the admin side, which I love all the processes and the planning, spreadsheets and things like that, but I also get the contact with patients. Probably the 3 advice that I would say is use your network of colleagues, ask the shadow people. I was lucky because I had a supportive manager and who allowed me to take a morning's work and go as long as, I kept up with my other work and stuff. But if you can't, we had a lady the other day she got knocked back for an admin role here because she was outside of CMFT. So she asked how can I get over that? So she's come and done in her own time, work shadowing into the trust so that she can then say she's got a little bit of NHS experience. So do that. Those 2 days or 1 day, one morning could change your career path and for the better, or for whatever you want to do. Take on little extras. I say it might not be in your role, but if it helps towards your goal, then it's beneficial, and again your reputation grows. But the biggest piece of advice, and it's a bit what John was saying, was don't be afraid. Whether it's small steps or huge steps towards what you want to do, just step out of your comfort zone, because I did. It was scary, it was exciting. Never thought I would do anything like this at all in my life, and I'm a bit proud of myself that I have done it now. But I can genuinely say if I hadn't took that step into research world and into slightly clinical world, I wouldn't have this feeling of, yes, I love my job and coming to work every day, and I do love my job, and there's not many people that are able to say that. So that's it. Thank you.